What'd you do? Get a new supply?
Yeah, you want some?
Yeah.
We all have.
Jessica's house.
We got two different kinds of milk. That kind,
Looking like
this kind.
taking videos.
It's actually things to me, they do like, they do other colors, I do like the other thing.
All of this. I was dropping the kids off.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome.
There were these presidents on my floor home. Not the school.
Well, that's like this morning, when I
School resource up there.
I got somebody to come. Yes, there is.
Hold on, I'm good, I got my things, don't check.
We got their theory. Partner, right?
But I don't know about it.
Took video. For now.
So let's do like.
Not good, thank you though. I appreciate it. Oh, it's all fast. It's all fast.
Getting he was on it for a while and then he's like, and he's not.
All right.
He's like, oh.
Give it time for the help.
He's like, I'm done.
I didn't take it either. Yes, there's no. Red meat's gonna kill me. Red meat, beer.
Tree service, something we're talking about.
Whatever else.
Tree. There you go.
I need to take some tips for yours. What I need to do is before my meetings.
Get him on a sugar high.
Get
On an outlet, we're limited on outlets, but he wanted to be able to see it to run the timer. But. Well, mine's gonna take me to assess what I figured out. Mother's on now, not only. It's always gonna be.
That's the bill, Bill, definitely cool. Get it.
Okay, I'm going to call to order Lebanon City Council Committee meeting for August 18th, 2025. Roll call. Belkey.
Here.
Farrell. Here. Cornish. Smith.
Here.
Marcinkowski.
Here.
Stevenson.
Sure.
Bennett. Washington.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a forum. Audience participation. There are a 5-minute supply. Please state your name when you come up to the gate. And you have 5 minutes. Anybody for audience?
Am I on the agenda or is this my time?
This is, you can do here and we'll ask you questions on the agenda.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'll go ahead and let me stand up here and introduce myself. For those I haven't had the pleasure of meeting, I'm Matt Noyes. I'm the district superintendent. And thanks for being willing to listen to a plea from the school district this evening as it relates to streets and alleys. Had a conversation with Mayor Whitty last week, unrelated, and he brought up a great question saying that the attorney for the city would like to know what this business is about turning Mary Jane into a one-way at a certain time of day. As many of you may have heard, our safety team met periodically throughout the school year last year And as you may or may not be aware, we did have a situation where a young student was hit in one of our crosswalks, crossing Mary Jane last year during the school year. And, fortunately, he was okay, and, the injuries weren't as bad as they could have been. Could have been a really, really bad situation. As a result, our safety committee met numerous times and talked about crossing guards, talked about school safety in general. And one of the ideas that came up was for this year, could we try maybe to do something different with our traffic pattern as far as drop-offs and pickups? Essentially what was happening is, you know, the way the Mary Jane goes right kind of in between the two school campuses, if you will, kind of sometimes in the mornings, it could be kind of like the wild, wild west out there. Cars coming and going all different directions. You got teenage drivers, you've got parent drop-offs, you've got buses, and then you've got just, I guess, just people occasionally from the community or from the pink pallets, as they call it, coming through on maybe a motorized scooter or something like that. So all kinds of different traffic going different ways. And one of the things the safety committee came up with was the possibility, what I've asked when I asked if I could get on the committee agenda, what I've asked for is permission to possibly consider that the school district try to make Mary Jane just that one-way flow of traffic for approximately, I think 30 to 45 minutes before and after school only. Not, you know, ask the city council to come up with something making it one way in general. But for that time period, specifically, we're looking at about 7:15 to 8 o'clock in the morning. So about a 45-minute period in the interest of safety. And then again, potentially for 30 to 40 minutes at school dismissal time. Does not impact anything coming down Monroe. Doesn't impact anything with Chutes or Route 4. It just strictly applies to Mary Jane with that flow of traffic coming from the Route 4 side, from the east side, headed west towards the elementary school, just at drop off and pickup time. So be happy to answer any questions.
We'll have questions in a few minutes. And during this period of time, this is your 5 minutes.
Okay, and I don't even need the whole 5 minutes, just wanted to share that with you. That was the reason for the request. It was out of the interest of student and staff safety to see if the city would consider that as a possibility. So when it gets time on the agenda, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Sure, well, you're on the agenda, so you'll have plenty of time.
Okay.
That's
Thank
what we'll take care of questions.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else for audience participation? Okay, we're gonna move on to alderperson. Any alderperson comments?
I got a question, that was brought up to me. The property right here, Charlie, you'll be able to probably help me with this one. The property right next to Dr. Jazz, there is. Some people are wondering if that is the city's or if that's Dr. Jazz's property, where I guess, there were some trees there. And then there was an iron fencing that went between the pillars. Were they removed when the trees were cut, or did the gentleman who owns Dr. Jazz get rid of them? Anyways, just some people in the community were interested in that and possibly helping out in kind of cleaning up that side. I know that.
I
the city or-
don't recall any ordinances that granted the use of that to Dr. Jazz. That is a city right away.
City right away.
And, we have to look at how we handle the city right away.
Okay,
Technically, that is a city right away. I've had a question about that 20 years.
I got a question for the
Well,
superintendent.
we'll be talking that in depth in a few minutes. They've got an item on the agenda. You go down through the agenda, it's on the agenda.
my other question was, the house that, was unfortunately hit with that uprooted tree, kind of what, do we have any idea what the status is on that? where they are with their insurance and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm sure they had to have had insurance if they were renting the property. I mean, legally, they should have had to have had it. What are we doing about that? And is there something that we can?
Probably nothing. It was a storm and I'm speaking out only because I've been involved with this type of thing before. The damages to their house, there's a process that they have to follow. There's a process that we have to follow. I'm sure Jessica could even throw some light into this. It takes time
Yeah.
for that to
Okay.
get fixed up, cleaned up.
Sure. I just kind of was wondering, because family and I were on a walk and, it's going on a few months now and it's very unfortunate, but there's, things falling on the, sidewalks and things like that, and also falling on the house next to it. And I believe someone is actually living in there, so I don't know if there's something that like can be done.
If there's stuff falling off of it, then.
It's all over the road,
We need to
sidewalk.
notify our code enforcement, and they go down there, they should clean it up and secure it better perhaps.
The
That would
city
be their-
can't,
What?
the city can't,
No, we
and
can't do
they,
anything.
most likely the insured is probably being told that they can't touch it until it's been evaluated and processed through claims. So, which is a long process. I don't know if you guys remember when the one fell on Monroe Street as well and took a big chunk of that house on the top of
Oh,
it.
yeah.
It was, I mean, a good 6-7 months before you really saw traction. They have to do an evaluation on, are they gonna try to rebuild it and salvage the house? Are they gonna level it? What is exactly gonna be? How they're gonna cover it and everything. And if it was a rental property, it's a completely different process than if it was a owner occupied home.
Okay,
And so it just takes time. And unfortunately, the city's not gonna be able, I mean, they can try to ask them to tarp it and things like that, but they're not gonna be able to go on and do anything. And we can't really,
I can force them to like clean up a little bit of it,
Yeah.
or like,
to be honest, it would, like, as long as, yes, safety, we can try and tarp it, we can try to do different things, and we can put the barricades out and try and get people to create, some space there. But ultimately, in my opinion, like, the people have been placed out of their home. They are not able to go into their home and get any of their belongings or anything in situations like this because it's unstable. So to then contact them and be like, hey, you need to do this right now, when they're probably fighting with insurance companies to get it all taken care of anyways. It hasn't been that long in the world of insurance with the amount of damage that's there.
sure.
So I mean,
Yeah, I just, for the other person who lives next door to them, I mean, that house is falling on their house now.
yeah.
I
And
don't know if that's all one unit.
they can call the person's insurance as well. And so they should be able to, and they can file, like, try to get in contact with the adjuster and try and like express concerns.
Then I don't know if like we need to also maybe see about getting like some type of barricading as well, because I mean, if we have a resident come walking by and
Oh, we could possibly, we have to talk with them
I mean,
and their insurance, because we don't wanna create a liability for the city
right,
by putting barricades up there.
because don't we have our barricades up there? But
We have, I think we have something
Yeah.
up there.
They keep getting moved.
Yeah, they keep,
Lock the sidewalk off,
Yeah.
can't move them because
Right.
It's
people
not like
want
you put them up and people drive around when there's water on the road.
right, I think it's.
So they keep moving them. So I have seen them sat out there several times, but when it comes from like, well, one house and dealing with the other house, that's gonna be a private property situation of where they're gonna have to
Not
deal
the
with it. The
city's.
city's not gonna be able to intervene in that.
Thank you.
Take a picture of it,
Sorry,
take a picture of it,
yeah,
and every time you see something different, take another picture.
I mean, where should I mean, forward that to, I mean, would I,
Put it in your pocket or give it to somebody else. But I mean, if you're concerned about it,
yeah, I am, that's why I just
You know,
was trying to see if
because
what,
it's gonna continue to change to,
If that ever looks like there's something there that is a danger to others passing by, then we need to talk to the insurance company. And we'll get a letter written, and we can't, our hands are tied on anything that is not city property.
even in the like historic, because also I want to bring up the large horse that is, statue or whatever that's across the street there where, there was, possible rental property gonna be there and everything else. I mean, with a sculpture like that, I mean, being in the historical downtown and everything else, shouldn't that have to go through approval and all that kind of stuff with it being in our historical area without people just kind of littering our downtown with what they think is art? I mean,
Good question. We have to talk about that.
okay. I like to see what we can possibly do. I mean, cause some of that size and
I'll check ordinances.
and the historical,
I'll check the ordinances.
cause like my thing is like, we want to have an historical downtown and all that kind of stuff and keep that all together, but we are letting people just do whatever they please and whenever they please, with the downtown and, it's like kids, if you don't nip it in the butt now, they're just gonna run wild. And right now, I feel like that's where we're at. We just kind of let everybody do whatever they want. And then we do nothing about it. I mean, it's my opinion. I know there's other people out there that agree with kind of what I'm bringing up, but just like with the because from my understanding, if you wanted to paint your building downtown, you have to get approval for paint color. Well, I mean, like with like the bar that we have down here that has that that standing bar on the outside, I mean, that's not a part of like I don't believe that's like historically correct for our downtown. And not only that, I feel like it just kind of invites more trouble than anything with people standing out front. And I know we don't really enforce laws here in Lebanon, but you know, you shouldn't be smoking cigarettes and things like that within 15 feet, I believe, of a doorway, which is state law.
And it's,
And then that just invites them to sit out there and drink and smoke and carry about. And I think it just is, I think it just invites trouble.
that was a discussion that was brought to the city council. I think it was before you took your seat.
Yeah.
And the city council at that time, the plan commission approved it. And the city council accepted the decision of the plan commission. So that thing
That's a
is
shame.
there. There were several of us who spoke against it. And there were several who were in favor of it.
Yeah.
And it was not a unanimous vote. Yeah, we need to get that looked at. As far as artwork there, from what I can remember, from having read those ordinances, it's been a while since I've read that ordinance in detail. There are controls over colors and paint, etc. But you know, we don't have a sculpture clause in that ordinance. Gotta take a look at it. Charlie, what do you think? Take a look at it.
Yeah,
Take a look at.
I think we really should. I think we should really actually,
I will research what other cities have done that have historic districts.
yeah, I mean, we could even like, I would love to go as far as like Charleston, South Carolina, how their historic area, I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, I'm not sure if you've been there or not, but I mean, it's beautiful and they really take pride in their historic sites and everything else. And I think that'd be cool of us to do because this is like our.
Right, we can do it. It's
Sure, I mean,
all we have is our view. That's the only thing really this year is our view.
Yeah.
So I'll take a look at the ordinances from the cities and I'll send everybody something when I find it. Chances are there will have to be an entire section added to the historic district. And before we add anything to the historic district ordinances, we have to run it by the plan commission as well. Plan commission cannot veto us, but we have to run it by them, see what their thoughts are.
okay,
So it's a process. It will take us several months to get one paragraph into that ordinance.
okay,
Hey, RJ,
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna jokingly give you a hard time.
okay.
But being a former Marine yourself there, you you knew to walk on the other side of the street when stuff was falling off there, didn't you?
Well, absolutely, yeah, I mean, and I do, we move my family around, but, you know, it's, I just don't wanna see.
I know,
Want
I
it fall
was just joking, I was giving you a hard time.
No, I know, I just don't wanna see it falling on that other person's house, cause there's
Right.
somebody else living in that other
Right.
house, and then, it's a shame that what happened, you know, to this person's home, and. I just was wanting to know what the status was, and if we've kind of heard anything, or. If there's anything that we can do to help them, like, kind of, you know, get the process, I don't think there is, I don't know, but. Get that process moved along for them, and because it's a long time to. be
All we
without a
can do
home.
is talk to the insurance, contact them, find out their insurance company. Talk to their insurance adjuster and express our concerns. Cause I doubt that the insurance adjuster wants the claim to go any higher than it already is.
Right.
So let's, there's very little we can actually do except, ask Blake to talk to the insurance adjuster and see what he can find out.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, moving on to committees.
I wasn't sure if you were breaking from that or.
Yeah, I'm breaking from that.
Can we talk to anybody out here now?
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's under new business. Pat. Right now,
Sorry, new business.
Trying to get you out here.
Hey, you're making me nervous, man. I'm just teasing. I appreciate your enthusiasm for talking about my cause, but I'll defer to the group on how they run the meetings. Thank you.
It's on there.
I'll be sure.
On the agenda, and when we get down to new business, I may ask to change the order of the agenda. Finance Committee, there's a discussion for the city lawyer, accepting proposals for changes to our current banking relationship.
Right, so, as you said, we sent out, requests, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago, to have banks make offers. We opened 4 of them Thursday afternoon. We had some questions, we got most of them answered over the weekend. And just tonight, we decided to go ahead and put together a summary of the 4 proposals. We asked that you keep it confidential for now. And if you got any questions, excuse me. Come to Jessica or Mooch. Thank you. But I think you'll see there on the far right column is an estimate of how much we make on our investments over a year compared to what we, an increase over what we're making now. And one stands out, bank number 4. We're gonna have representatives from them in this week to talk to city people who would be working with them. And I guess next week, if that goes well, we would make a recommendation.
Do any of these require driving? I have a request from the city clerk.
I can,
Well-
I can speak on that if you'd like.
Yeah.
I had a meeting with, Paul this morning, actually, and kind of talked through some of that. If you read on the, second column there, where it says a remote deposit is offered by 3 of the banks there, but specifically Bank 4 that we're talking about. The remote deposit is a machine that they will have sitting on their desk that will allow them to make deposits from their desk without having to drive anywhere. And we are gonna sit down and discuss a process for handling cash deposits and whether that be keeping an account here or some other options that we can explore. But I did have a conversation with him today. We did address those concerns. He will also ask some of those questions again with the bank tomorrow when we meet with them. But I do believe that those concerns from him have been met and addressed, but if you hear otherwise, let me
He
know.
called me this afternoon, and that's why I'm curious.
Yeah.
He met with them this morning, and he called me this afternoon. He must not like what you're thinking, but we'll see what happens.
Wasn't that one of the requirements on,
They have to be within 10 miles.
10 miles.
Yeah,
But the issue is, even if it's within 10 miles, that would mean if, unless we have some arrangement, the clerk is going to have to drive 20-mile round trip potentially to make deposits. And that's time, gas, wear, and tear on his part. So then he is requesting that if we do that, that the city buy a car for his use in city business.
That is not gonna be necessary at all. So Charlie, myself, Stephanie can all run deposits, and Paul, when I spoke to him this morning, what he shared with me is he is already going to the courthouse about every 10 days, and it is on his way. And then the other days, I'm able to make deposits and I drive that way 5 days a week.
Okay.
So he would not ever have to.
On, you know, for the job, why is it a problem now?
Because it's not a problem now, because the bank we're using is in town, a few blocks away. If it's gonna be depositing somewhere else, Belleville, O'Fallon, whatever, then that is time and mileage.
As I mentioned, if we really want to fight that, he's got a machine on his desk, and if he has cash, we can keep an account in town. And that's not gonna change. I would encourage you to look at the number on the far right-hand column,
I think that
because
is ridiculous,
yeah, it's not gonna be an issue.
and,
I had to bring it up because I was asking.
well, I think it's ridiculous. And it's whiny and it's childish.
Send Paul an email.
I mean, it was one of the requirements for the job, and nobody begged him to take the job, he was begging.
He
So-
got elected, so.
As far as I'm concerned, he needs to just roll with the flow.
Thank you, Ms. Washington. Anything else on this topic before we move on?
If there's any other questions specifically that you guys come up with between now and Monday, just don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'd be happy to try and get those, and then we'll share more details and go into it more on Monday.
Thank you, Jessica. Okay, nothing else for finance. Let's move on to water and sewer. Pat, you got it?
Blowing.
It's blowing. Yeah. That's right. Personnel's not here. Health and safety, Linda.
I spoke to Charles Kelly about the MedStar contract. He was not even aware that we sent changes. He said the IT department had made some changes. And a lot of their stuff is going to spam, and they don't check their spam every day. So he's gonna check his spam for the last month. And get back with me to see if the return contract is in there with the changes that we made.
Tell him just bring a hard copy to City Hall.
And well, when he calls him back, if he doesn't have the changes, that's what I'll tell him.
If he has one, if he wants to pick up one here at City Hall, or if he's got one, find something. He wants to bring it in, or wants to come in and get one, have him do that with him.
Yeah, their IT, in my opinion, their IT department needs to flag certain accounts that don't get bumped, bumps the spam. Whatever, if it's you're saying it's in a spam folder, then their business does not recognize our email address. I suggest to him that they need to make sure that we get clearance to go through, because I wonder how many other businesses or organizations they serve have that problem.
Well, I'm not worried about the other ones. I'm
Oh, I
worried
know.
about ours.
But that might be a cause not to accept the contract.
But, so he's supposed to call me back tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. Anything else for health and safety, Linda? Okay, I'm
The
finished
back
with
problem is getting worse,
what's getting worse,
the back problem.
the bat problem. We have bats back there too.
Mine. Because they left the two houses that I talked about and went to other houses.
Oh, we're talking in town. Okay, we need to find those houses and get them checked out, see if there's anything we can do. There's nothing we can do on private property. We can put up a bad house and they'll be attracted perhaps to that bad house, get them out of those houses. Those houses are probably more comfortable. Okay. Moving on, anything else for committees? Moving on to unfinished business. We have the draft ordinance vacating the entirety of Pilot Street named Dudley Court. You want to talk any more about that?
Not really.
Okay. It's a completed ordinance. Basically, we're finally going to, on Monday, approve vacating, Dudley Street except for our utility easement. Are there any questions about that? Any comments? Is it something put on the agenda for Monday?
That makes sense to everybody.
Yeah.
We have a road there now and in the utility easement, we're just vacating the road and leaving the utility easement. Cause the road leads to wetlands
The road doesn't go anywhere.
and it's never been maintained by the city, which is in better lack of terms, ill shape.
Plus it will become revenue generating once we vacate it. Okay, if there's nothing else on that, we'll move on to new business. The first item there is an ordinance to present to the St. Clair County to
Excuse me,
do a,
George.
that's an agreement, not an ordinance, an agreement.
George. Miss Linda.
Can we just go on down to the school?
You wanna come up earlier?
I'm at your mercy. I'm a guest here. I've never been. I'll go when you guys tell me. So
Okay,
it's up to you.
we have three more items. You're the last item. So let's move you up. I can move you up. If there's, everybody's in agreement, we can move the school issue up. So you're on, and this is a proposal to have part-time one-way access on Mary Jade Street. What's the other street?
North.
It's really just Mary, it's okay. With the group, I'll pass these out. You can see exactly what I emailed Paul.
On here it says
That way.
North.
Yeah, I know. That might have got lost in translation a little bit. But you can see exactly what I emailed Paul right here. Told him that I was wondering if it would be possible to, talk to the committee or the council about, proposed district traffic plan, at this committee meeting. Basically, let them know that when the school year started, which started Wednesday last week, for those that weren't aware, we welcomed back our first through 12th graders last Wednesday. So we had a 3-day kind of trial run, morning and afternoon, to see how this worked. And then today, just to throw an extra wrench in the plan, we brought our youngest students back onto the campus. And we had pre-K and kindergarten starting today, so we got to see an extra taste of, okay, now when everybody's coming, what does this look like? So as I've outlined here, the plan seems to be working well, albeit at this point, we'd be asking for forgiveness, not permission, for what has already happened. What we'd like to do is kind of partner with the city and talk about if the city would consider allowing us to make this kind of a permanent thing, a traffic plan that we utilize only during school drop-off and pickup times. So again, the affected street is Mary Jane, specifically Mary Jane. We're proposing that the schools be allowed to have traffic flow one way from approximately 7:15 to 8 a.m. each school day, and then again for approximately 30 to 45 minutes at school dismissal time. Monroe and Schutz are not impacted at all. But we're asking for the city council to consider allowing us to make Mary Jane one way for that 75 to 90 total minutes on school days at arrival and dismissal times. And again, we're doing it in the interest of student and staff safety. Primarily our students, our elementary students that have to potentially cross Mary Jane to get to the elementary in the morning. And I included a map. You may have seen this on the district website. It is a little bit confusing because the initial map drawing, it looks like Monroe is kind of one way out, headed to the north, if you will. And that's not really what we're doing. We're still allowing southbound traffic on Monroe. Again, Monroe's not really affected. I'll tell you, people thought that maybe we were trying to address the congestion in the mornings at drop off and in the afternoons at pickup. And to be honest, we weren't really trying to address that. We were trying to address the obvious safety concern that had been identified last year. And to be honest, kind of a natural byproduct of this is, for the first time in a while, we don't have cars all the way stacked up past the four-way at Monroe and Shoots, that four-way stop there. We used to have cars coming down Monroe, so they're coming down, let's say southbound on Monroe, and they can't, doesn't matter if there's school traffic or not, they can't go anywhere because they're sitting in a line of parent drop-offs and parent pickups. So kind of an unintended, byproduct of the safety plan and rerouting some traffic around from 4 in on Mary Jane has been that hasn't happened quite to that extreme. Now, we still have traffic sitting on Monroe all the way back just about to that four-way at times. And today, after school with kindergarten back, I think we had a lot of kindergarten parents, first day of school, dropping off and picking up. So we imagine that'll get a little bit better, but it is a little thicker traffic-wise than it was last week.
Does everybody leave the school at the same time and come at the same time?
Almost, sort of. The two buildings are just, there's just a slight stagger. And primarily, it doesn't take much time, obviously, with the schools being in such close proximity to one another. But what works best from a transportation standpoint, because we do have some buses that need to be able to run their routes and so on and so forth. The junior high, senior high school starts just a little bit earlier, about 15 minutes earlier, and dismisses about 15 minutes earlier than the, or 12.
Would it do any change to stretch that out to maybe a half hour?
To be honest, I'd make it worse, from a, maybe not a congestion of traffic standpoint, but from, the routing of the buses and staff supervision because of contractual, hours in a school day and
Okay.
one building pitting the other building. Hey, how come they get to do this and this building, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
from that standpoint, the safest thing and the best thing in the interest of the district is honestly having those times as close together as possible. Now, the downside is it does bring about more traffic at a certain time of day. So you're exactly right about that. The positive is though, there are far more elementary, drop-offs and pickups than there are, by the time they're junior, senior high school, unless they're a student driver, they're more often either a bus rider or a walker. Parents aren't as quite as bent on protecting their child and driving their child to school when they're junior, senior high school as they are when they're elementary. So the primary concern for us is our elementary population.
I like the pattern you have here. Looks good. Question I have is, for those people who have no involvement with the school, and they get in that area, and they think they're going where they wanna go, because they got their mind to do this, and the GPS is saying, go here, and they're going against the traffic. For example, they're gonna be sent down Monroe, and they're gonna be told, turn left at Mary Jane, perhaps. Do you have signage that you're going to put up? If we say, go ahead with the signage that you will put up, just during those periods of time, saying one way, so that, somebody from out of town wanders in.
Trying to get to Don's IGA and they're not there anymore or whatever.
Trying to get somewhere, and they turn the wrong way down that street because they know it's there and they can do it, or they see it and they see traffic backed up in one place, they go another place.
I appreciate the question. It is a great question. We have thought about it. The 2 reasons why we haven't done it so far. One,
For us.
we tried it out, right? And we didn't know if city council would even consider allowing us to do this. So it wasn't our place to put any kind of signage up or anything like that yet. And then the second thing is, we're really talking about 75 to 80 or 90 minutes only the days that school is in session. So we're talking 174 days out of the calendar year. And, you know, we weren't sure if that would be more confusing, even if the city said, hey, yeah, go ahead and do it. And I'll say this. I mean, I haven't been here long, but between last year and this year so far, in the 13 or 14 months that I've been on the job, I don't see a lot of, at that time, traffic on Mary Jane that isn't like our traffic, right?
Right.
Like our staff, our students, our parents, our guardians that are trying to, and then after school time, it'll be a situation of people trying to get maybe to or from a game. But once school has been dismissed and the buses and the cars have cleared the area, and again, sometimes this might only take 20, 25 minutes. To be honest, we don't care which way they drive at that point. If they want to go down Mary Jane, we're okay with it. The people that have probably had to have some adjustments here are the people on the electric scooters and things that cut through the campus all the time. We have still allowed them to do that. To answer your question about not having the signage right now, how we've made that work, George, is by simply having staff out there kind of stopping cars, directing cars. Either, you know, Mrs. Emmerich, myself, and a couple others have done some of that kind of at that Y, that island in the middle. And then Officer Puckett has done that at the elementary as far as cars exiting. It's as simple as just telling them that when they're leaving the elementary, they gotta go left on Mary Jane, just for that short amount of time before and after school. Other than that, we don't care if they turn right out of the elementary.
I can understand, I fully understand. And, you know, the city, because those are city streets, the city does have some liability. That's what I'm looking at. And I'm not concerned about, I think it's a good idea, but I think we need to put, I gotta talk to our city attorney about whether we need to make this into an ordinance format and how we would put the language in, do all that thing. And, but some signs, temporary signs, they don't have to be up permanently. Just say, just with the hours, and this is one way, an arrow, and the sign can only need to be put up. Like the crossing, for example, the crossing guard could put those signs up on the way out to the position for crossing. And get those signs. But the only place you're probably gonna need to have a sign is, if the Officer Puckett's directing traffic at the elementary school, about the only place you're gonna need to have signs is at the entrance from Madison, out for. That's the place where you're likely to get some traffic. It doesn't quite understand. There's one lane for the high school, one lane for elementary, and they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, that, and we haven't had any issues with that, but I will say from a signage standpoint, that place, I didn't even think about a sign for, because if they come in from 4, they're going the right direction
Correct.
with our plan. You know what I mean?
They're going the right direction, but so they understand it's one way there.
Sure.
And then you may want to put one at the bottom of Monroe for anybody who ends up going straight through and decides they want to turn left when you have everybody heading west and they're not gonna be able to go east.
Right. Yeah,
That's
we've had a couple cars. Thankfully, the way it works out, we've been able to turn them around in the student parking lot, if you will, on that side of the building. But that's a good thought.
What about the speed,
What about the speed?
the speeding? You know, the students and teachers speeding, have you got a plan to curtail that?
Well, we do have, just continued communication, basically reminding people. We do have appropriate signage up for that. You know, when you enter and you're in that kind of, that zone that between the parking lot and Mary Jane there, as you're rounding that, if we were allowing people to still go back to the east there instead of going to the west, that's where we have the signage up about the you know, 5 miles per hour. And if you, you know, it's a good point that you're making. If you think about, if anybody's ever tried to go 5 miles per hour,
You can't.
it is next to impossible, but that's a great point. Like, when people are paying attention to what they're doing, they realize that driving on this road is kind of like driving in a parking lot. I've got to go slow, be cautious. Obviously, it's a school area, so you would think that everybody's gonna watch out for students, right? But, that is.
Lebanon, that don't happen.
That is part of
No.
our, that is part of our safety committee's discussion. It also has to do with all those, the signage on, you know, speed and yield. Obviously, there's also, and we had to take pictures of all these for our, you know, just like the city has to worry about litigation, you know, as a school district, we do as well. We're not immune to that, and we had to review our policies and procedures with our insurance folks, and, you know, even our legal counsel from a safety risk management mitigation kind of standpoint is that we had to make sure that there also, the yield signs were there. As obvious as that seems, yield to pedestrians in a crosswalk, which should happen whether we're on school campus or whether we're up here or anywhere else. You know, everyone should, but to your point,
It's Lebanon. We don't pay attention to
not
signs.
everyone knows the yield to a pedestrian, right? So we've had to go over all those things, take pictures, submit those things, talk to our insurance folks about our safety plans, things like that as well.
Yeah, so the removable signs seem like a good idea to me. Did I hear you say you don't have them yet?
We don't have any additional signage at this point. You know, if that's what it would take for the city to be comfortable with it, we would certainly do that and pay for whatever kind of signage we needed. That's not a problem.
That's not a problem, people.
It just takes a while to
Well,
get
we
it.
have to talk
in
to,
order.
I'll contact Luke and have a conversation with him and the mayor and see what we need to do officially to authorize it so that the liability for the city is reduced.
Sure.
And we'll come up with some language and run it by him. It could be as early as next week's meeting, good chance it'll be in 4 weeks, it'll be passed, but you can keep doing it in the meantime. Your animals consider that your property, but we have a big.
Well, and we do know that we share, I mean, this is something we have in common with the city, right? None of us are immune to potential litigation.
Right,
Technically, you're right, it's a city street. If they came after the school district last year and went after the motorists and then we're like, you know, it goes with insurance, like motorists. Pockets aren't deep enough, let's go after school district, that's not enough, let's go after city, so on and so forth. We all share the litigation potential. But the way I looked at it, and I know that I kind of mentioned this to Charlie when we met last week, is that we look at it as kind of a partnership or a collaboration anyway. Yes, it's a city street, but the district is willing to continue to do our part as far as like maintaining it, and that's not just, you know, snow removal and things like that we pay for, but when it needs to be, potholes need to be repaired, when it needs to be re-asphalted, yeah, that's on the district's dime, because it's essentially kind of is. I mean, the city owns it. I mean, we could say, no, it's a city street, but it's a road that goes right through the middle of our campus. So it's kind of a unique situation. Now, if that were just our street, if we were doing something to take that street over from the city, we potentially consider putting, you know, we'll take it a step further than your speed limit signs. We put one of those gates across there and just close that down. I mean, that's ultimately way safer than even what we're proposing, is just we just choke it off. If we owned it, we don't own it. We understand that. We're not trying to do that. We don't want to inconvenience any of our neighbors in the area. We want to be good neighbors. We want to, you know, partner with the city and make sure everybody's comfortable with a plan to get along. We just want to keep our kids safe. And we know that the city values that as well. So that's the reason for bringing it to your attention tonight. Something you could look into and let me know if you consider it.
I think we have another question.
So you've already started.
We've been doing it since Wednesday and it's worked relatively well, really. And like I said, it's alleviated a little bit of the normal backup that we would be experiencing at the beginning of the year.
Have you talked to the police department? About traffic and whatnot?
Yeah, well, Officer Puckett and I are working on it together daily. So we have constant communication. I know that he's talked a little bit to Chief Roth about it as well. But yeah, we're kind of partnering on this, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jessica.
I have two questions. One, Cody, do you know off the top of your head, or has anybody asked Chief if there's any kind of regulations on us being able to set times on a one-way, or do we have to make it permanently a one-way, or is that an option? That you know of, and if we can research us before Monday, if you
We
don't
can
know.
definitely do some research. I think we talked to Chief a little bit, when I talked to him. The problem you're gonna have is when you have a 2-lane and you have bus dedicated and car dedicated, you have to indicate those lanes. Right, because then you're gonna start getting buses and cars that interweave. People see a spot, they're gonna take it, right? So nobody does the zipper effect anymore. It takes time to merge in. It's, I got here first, I'm gonna cut you off kind of deal. So that would be my concern. The signage would have to be either A, drug out every time, or B, permanent, and then telling you exactly what it is. My concern that I think we may be able to help with is adding additional exits to your facility, to your east side parking lot to come out to the road by the bell tower. So you have a junior high area that's consolidated to that side. And then you have your senior high schools kind of on the other side. So you're, yes, I know they go to the same area, but I don't think it would necessarily hurt them to walk from one wing to the other. There's a couple things we went over, but at the end of the day, we have to give a blue. We have to make sure that we can do this. I don't think anybody here is opposed to it. The only thing I would need counsel in for, nothing against the school, but anything from South Monroe, making that loop past the grade school, it would probably be not beneficial to let go of that section of road. But I wouldn't say it's not beneficial to let go of the rest of it, because it does run through your campus. I think Charlie and I have talked about, we're open to some options, just not discussing them here now, because once the Val gets a hold of it, it'll be on Facebook, and then Facebook, everything, right? So we don't want that to start. We want to make sure we're stepping this piece by piece. I would ask, come back and have a meeting with us again. I know it takes a little time, but Charlie's up for it. I'd be glad to meet with you too, discuss a couple options.
And I appreciate that. And to be clear, we don't necessarily want to take over any section of the road. We're just wondering what the possibilities are to pull off kind of the safety traffic plan at dismissal and drop off and pickup time. That's really it. But you know, if it's easier for it to still be a city street and just get the proper temporary signage or whatever, we would be happy to do that if that's what it took.
That's the only thing I think it's a good idea. I think it will work. I don't hear any negatives from the council.
Have you,
Go ahead.
sorry,
No, go ahead.
have you had noticed any backup on Route 4 because of this new route or anything like that?
Believe it or not, Route 4 in the morning, the drop off time where we have maybe some couple of additional vehicles on Route 4, just from the stretch from Shoots to Shoots down Route 4 to Mary Jane, which is literally the length of the school district property there, right? So there might be a few more, but to be honest, that time in the morning is kind of like, it's rush hour time. People going to work, people going to, wherever, Air Force Base, all kinds of different places up and down 4. So there haven't been any major changes with that.
Because they come off right of Route 4 on the Mary Jane.
I think the initial fear when people started maybe blowing this, and I'm not a Facebook person, so I apologize for those of you that are all over Facebook. I'll never see it unless somebody screenshots it and sends it to me. I'm not a Facebook person, but when that started blowing up right before school started about Route 4 getting backed up and all this terrible stuff, I think the fear or the perception was everyone was going to have to come onto the school campus from 4, which to your point would be a nightmare. And it would probably back things up between there and that crosswalk significantly. That was just kind of misunderstood or just misinterpreted in the communication. We just didn't do a good enough job with our map or whatever. We are still allowing people that have elementary only kids to come in on Monroe. We're still allowing our high school teen drivers. If I were a parent of a teen driver around here and somebody, school district or city or somebody was trying to tell me that my kid had to go on to 4 to come into the campus, that would really frustrate me. We're still allowing all of our teenage drivers to come in from Shoots and Monroe. So to answer your question, no, not
Not
really.
that you've seen.
And to be honest, I thought the biggest complaint might be from our bus drivers. Because we are asking our bus drivers to drop heading east on Shoots and make the right on the 4. And then make another right on the Mary Jane. And, you know, buses have a harder time getting on and off the 4 than like a regular car, right? And they haven't really experienced any major issues and, you know, typically people have been pretty responsive. We feel like if we know we're not supposed to, but you know, crossing guard or somebody were to walk out with a stop sign and let a couple buses get out. That happens like on occasion, but we haven't even necessarily had somebody there every time. At that 4 crosswalk, and it's still flowed about like normal, about like last year.
I have one more question. So first I'll express that as a parent with kids down there, I do notice that it is moving much better than anticipated. I do, when you don't have Mary Jane as a one-way and you head into the sun in the mornings, it is miserable where the child got hit, that area. It is very hard to see, especially for young drivers coming into that parking lot. Right now, one of the reasons that it's moving so good is because Officer Puckett is down there, being one of our police officers and kind of addressing all that. As you mentioned earlier, high school starts 15 minutes before the elementary does. Is he always gonna be the person there, or do you guys have a plan that once the high school kids figure out that there's not a resource officer in the building the first 15 minutes of school and things like that, do you guys have how we're gonna handle the officer being there and kind of where he used to be in the high school and that kind of thing? Or is he always gonna be the person directing traffic?
Well, one, I know he's a city employee, but he's the school district's resource officer, right? Not the high school. So one, we're thrilled to have him on campus at that time in the morning. I think that's been a nice, addition.
Yeah.
And so I think that, yes, it's more beneficial to have him, at least right now, continuing with the plan that he's been doing. And then getting to the, checking out at the junior high school after that. But how he split his time even last year before he was doing that, it wasn't anything like the school district expected him to be at the high school at this time and at the elementary school at this time. You know what I mean? He kind of would flow back and forth between the 2 buildings as he saw fit.
But you guys do see keeping him there at that intersection, for now. at least
It's
you
what's
don't-
making that, it's to your point, you made a good point. It's what's making the exit for motorists that are dropping off at the elementary, it's what's making that work.
Yes,
Because people that are coming to drop off that wait when he's got his hand up there, I don't, if he's not there, I don't think the turn taking goes quite as well, to the point about, not everybody understands the old zipper merge and,
yeah,
everybody adheres to expectations or policies, procedures, right? So the fact that he's there, stopping this traffic, waving this traffic on, and then, stopping this traffic, waving this, it's making a huge difference. Today after school was a little bit rougher because we brought our kindergarten students back, so it went fine in the morning, even though a few had to get out, right, and take pictures, and it makes it take a little longer. We expect that because it's the beginning of the school year. But after school, it was a little bit slower. We had been walking away from that area by 3 o'clock every day. And today it was probably 3:06, 3:07 before we could walk away from that area. But I know I've seen you there, Jessica. He and I've been there pretty much every
morning, yeah,
morning and every afternoon. I think that's gonna, while that won't be feasible for me for the remainder of the school year, I think for him, that's kind of our plan.
Okay.
As of right now. And then we know that the chief is shorthanded right now potentially, but we love when there's a car, at least with lights going there at 4, because we feel like we're always nervous about that area. To be honest, if you'd have asked me coming from the outside in as a new employee in the district last year, if you'd have asked me, when there's an accident this year involving a student, where will it be? I would have predicted Route 4. That's the part that makes me nervous.
That was my other question this morning when I noticed a kid trying to cross Route 4. The one side Dairy Queen, those lights were flashing, but the other side, those lights were not. I don't know if they're supposed to come on. I thought they all were supposed to come on, and several cars passed by, and I noticed that there wasn't any type of crosswalk person. Is that because we're utilizing everybody for this new one-way thing for that and not worried about the kids coming across Route 4? Or,
We're a little bit shorthanded as part of our issue right now. And so we've had people at various crosswalks, different days. And even some of the crosswalks that we have had covered, if you think of like a half an hour, 15, call it 15 minutes for junior high, senior high, and then the next 15 minutes for elementary kids. We've had some crosswalks where we've had somebody there maybe for the first 15 minutes, and then they gotta go into the building because they're in aid for a class or whatever it is, and class is starting. And then there hasn't been somebody, we are short, paraprofessionals, crossing guards, substitute teachers, in general. So if anyone in here knows of anyone, if you or anyone you know would like to either volunteer some time or do a part-time job at the school district, we'd love to have people interested, but it's just, honestly, it's a matter of being shorthanded, but we are
yeah.
extremely concerned about that.
Remember last year you guys had like a side by side out there with lights and then like, a crossing guard and stuff like that. I didn't notice it this morning. Maybe it was just.
We got to the point last year where we had a regular crossing guard, and we were fortunate to be able to partner with McKendree. It was actually a McKendree student athlete. She was on the women's wrestling team. And we don't know that if she's back yet or if she's returning. We're kind of waiting to find out before deciding how to move forward, because she did a great job.
Yes.
But yes, it takes somebody from the school district that's employed by the school district helping with that, but then also some help from our city police department with just drawing some awareness for people to slow down.
And it's really cool that you guys got McKendree involved too. That'd be awesome if we could.
Yeah, we're
city
trying to,
itself too would get involved with McKendree more.
we feel like we were on the path of repairing some relationships that for whatever reason, years ago, I can't explain it, but you've got a college, got a nice sized university right here in a small
Right.
town. And it would be silly for us to not work collaboratively. So we're starting to set some things up. We're even reaching out to them about our parapro openings. Sometimes about coaching positions that we can't get filled. We're starting to make some progress with McKendree for sure.
Great.
Other questions?
Definitely from a liability standpoint, I think as long as your plan is to keep Puckett there, then it makes me feel better, or at least to make sure have somebody there from, but liability standpoint, if we are gonna keep that a temporary one way, I almost feel like we need to make sure that we know somebody's gonna be in that spot, because I feel like that is gonna be one of the trickiest spots.
Right.
If there's not somebody, but if that's your guys' plan is to keep them there, that's the only reason I was asking, is because I wanted to make sure we weren't gonna hope parents get trained and then
Right.
abort because parents won't train.
Yeah, no, I think any adult there could do the job, but
Yeah.
it's been nice that it's been a police officer. Because as you guys all know, they see somebody in uniform with the police car there. They pay a little more attention than they do if it's just one of our employees. But yeah, that's our plan, is to always have an adult there. If you can't be there, then we gotta get a substitute or somebody out there.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think from what I'm gathering, the council would like to move this forward, but I think we need to get Luke involved with this, our city attorney, and make sure we're crossing all the Ts and dotting all the Is. And finding a way to do the language. Because somehow, I know that we need to be able to designate Mary Jane as not Mary Jane.
Mary Jane.
Yeah, Mary Jane as a one-way street during those periods of time. So we'll probably have to do some kind of ordinance that says, basically, it's gonna be a simple ordinance, no ordinance is simple. A simple ordinance that states that during particular hours of the day, during the school year when students are present, Mary Jane will be a one-way street westbound. That way, we're covered, the school district's covered, kids are covered, and everything's safe for everybody. Just to make sure we're doing it the right way.
That makes sense. I appreciate you checking into it, and if your attorney has, questions or concerns, you can reach out to myself directly if you'd like, and or comes up with some language, I'll be happy to shoot it by the school district attorney as well.
I'll email Luke if not tonight, tomorrow morning. And see if I can get us time for him to talk, if he has any thoughts on this as well from his experiences. And I think it's gonna be a slam dunk, it's just getting the right language. Do you all agree with me on that?
Yeah,
We don't vote in this meeting.
Yeah, no problem. I have committees as well. I get it.
We do it by consensus.
I get it. And well, I appreciate the consideration and the opportunity. Thank you very much sorry for taking up so much of your time this evening. Thanks, though.
Oh, no,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you, appreciate it. Okay, let's get back to the agenda. The next item on the agenda is a jurisdictional transfer agreement between the city of Lebanon and St. Clair County regarding a portion of Belleville Street. You have the agreement and the map. Do you all understand what this is?
no, I don't.
Okay,
Can I explain it to me and then I'll have some questions.
okay. Up until now, Belleville Street from Route 50 is to a point on Belleville about 0.83 miles
Something
in
like that.
from there. That is actually maintained by St. Clair County.
Is it St. Clair County or is it O'Fallon?
It's St. Clair County. And they do it through O'Fallon Township there, but it is a county road, so the county trucks actually maintain it. So it's St. Clair County. And because there are having some issues with potholes in various places, particularly the intersection, that is a combination of, that is really IDOT's problem, that intersection.
Yeah, it's not our problem.
No, but the thing is it is a stretch of roadway that the city doesn't maintain at this time, but should have as a part of the city.
Why? Why?
Get motor city fuel tax.
We get taxes
We
on it.
get a lot of taxes, then we're losing to O'Fallon, so on, so forth, from this right here.
Motorcycle taxes.
There'll be more
the
money,
number of
there'll be more
miles,
money for our
Yeah.
departments.
I mean, that's more money for the city.
How much?
Motor fuel tax?
Now, don't give me about,
I don't know.
Thousands,
for me.
thousands,
Thousands, yeah.
Dollars.
thousands. I'm not gonna give you a number because I don't have an exact number.
Okay,
There's a whole formula for determining that.
okay, I realize that. But I'd like to know what the pros and cons are, and it would be nice if somebody could do it with the metrics rather than saying, I think this is gonna be a good deal.
Cody, don't you mow all that already?
No, he doesn't.
No.
No, we don't have a tractor mower at this time, but once we would take over it, we would mow it with mowers. I think it'd be a lot more presentable going in town than having grass growing. O'Fallon Township mows it for St. Clair County Road District.
And you got 3 new mowers, right?
So it's something that's not out of the realm that we're already doing. The question is do you want, and I don't know if they would, but they could, do you want another city to annex it? What do you want? The house is already annexed. They're already paying the property and then we're letting road tax go out the door to O'Fallon Township and other townships. We would
Should
hear,
come to us.
Anybody from any other O'Fallon could annex that street.
Yeah.
And it would become this part of the city of O'Fallon.
I don't know if they would.
I don't think they would, but I don't know, they would. But see, that's also O'Fallon Township. Which O'Fallon Township already has this street.
No,
So basically, they're gonna lose the motor fuel tax. We're gonna gain the motor fuel tax.
And at what point is that?
As soon as all this goes through, both the county and everybody signs. it.
So,
Have you notified the people of, the,
Property owners.
Good, yeah.
Charlie, do you know if that's occurred?
I don't know, do you,
I believe that's in the process of all your drafting of paperwork that it gets sent out. Motor fuel is translated through your IDOT program. So I would imagine they wouldn't miss a step. And if we had to notify, I imagine they would tell us.
I'll call.
Right, right.
I'm serious. I don't like about, because this is, I think this is a,
So your house is already in district,
I know.
so it's just
I know.
the road.
And then what are you gonna do about all that stuff, that, was some kind of development? Got weeds up 50 feet high and everything. You know
Are you talking
what I'm
about this on the
talking
right, on the right of ways of where we're taking over?
No, down where the,
Like
develop,
the concrete plant?
yeah, no.
So we already have to write letters for that, because that's annexed. We have everything outside of the right of way. The only thing we're getting is the road and the right of way on the side of it. Everything else outside of that, the houses that are out there, the businesses that are out there are already in the city.
Yeah.
That's already been passed. So this is this is just a road and the utilities that stormwaters that go with it.
Well, I think that it'd be good to, tell people what we're doing. You know?
Should be posted on the website.
You know, I don't know who or what, but I think it's important that when you're going to change tax issues, we tell them, if you're,
I'm listening.
yeah, I think people need to know, and they figure out what's what, you know? I mean, we just can't say, hey, we're gonna do this here is
This
really
will
good. Why? That's not, to me, that's not enough.
That this will have no effect on property taxes or property value.
Sure they will.
It lowers your property
It's all
tax
from the
because
state.
Lebanon Road District tax is cheaper than St. Clair County Highway tax.
You're like the only one against this.
You will see a drop in
It's
your
like
road
you
tax.
were the only one against all this, and if you don't. Yeah, you're gonna have to abstain anyways, because you live on the Belleville Street, but you don't even control Belleville Street.
The financial thing though that you have to look at is that it's not gonna be an additional tax. The Lebanon road tax is gonna replace your O'Fallon Township. No,
It
O'Fallon,
replaces St. Clair County. So the
St. Clair County's
misconception,
tax. And the Lebanon road tax right now is actually less than the St. Clair County road tax, correct?
significantly.
So there's potentially going to lower your overall tax bill.
That would be nice to see.
Right.
You
So-
know,
Your St. Clair County Road District tax is averaging 200 to 300 per household. We're averaging maybe 100 to 103. We haven't raised our road tax in a very long time. And one of the reasons why we're going to annex is we already plow it. We already maintain all of it. They come and salt it once every 2 days of a snowstorm. Not their fault. They have a lot of road. The reason why we have
we
intergovernmental.
got a lot of
agreements-
road too,
We do,
you
we
know.
do. We
and there's a
can
lot
plow
of-
our whole town in 9 hours. That's
Yeah.
pretty decent.
Well, these guys are maintaining that road already and not getting the funding for it. And we're giving the money away right now.
Well, they're not, I don't think that we're cutting all of that.
Right, but during the snow season, when you're trying to leave wherever you wanna go, these guys are out there all night plowing snow and laying salt down on that road that's not even theirs. But they're doing it to make sure that the citizens of Lebanon are able to travel safely outside of town.
Belleville is still.
I'd really like to see some metrics on this thing, okay? And I think that, before anything is done, I think we ought to send something out to the people of the ward. That's always been the way it has been.
We need to meet everybody in the ward, right?
It just be the
People
parties
down the
affected.
road.
Is that your ward? Is that your ward? Is that your ward? That's great then. There you go.
And, let's see. The transfer agreement. I didn't get exit A. Exit A, that's right, the real thing.
Nobody got exhibit A.
I think I've got it and pass it around.
Well, let's make a copy for everybody.
Few pages it'll be on. While he's making those copies, let's move on.
Gonna need me, next one.
Yeah,
Oh, for the next one?
yeah.
Oh, we can go to the next one after that. Take care of that. We're gonna skip the tree bid removal for now. Knights of Columbus collecting money on South Madison.
It's the same thing like the Legion doing where they hand out candy, approximately the same spots. They're doing theirs on September 12th and 13th. The Lions is doing theirs in October. So I guess we have to,
Well. How come they're gonna do it, before? The Lions Club?
because they are
Different
a
organization.
different organization.
I know it. But they're gonna come in right after them, and then you're gonna try to,
They've been doing this for years and years.
I don't think so.
I do think so.
Well,
Yes, they have.
not here,
Yeah, they have.
have they?
Yeah,
Well. But what we're doing here is, I don't know, for Trenton, where what you get with the Lions Club. You know, they put out, I think last year, about $12,000 scholarships for schools here. And I just would wonder, you know, are they gonna do anything for here?
The funds are dedicated to a different cause. It's for students with developmental disabilities is what they do theirs for. The Lions Club is for community service project. So there are two different things.
But
Yeah,
And
Chairperson,
then
I don't think it would necessarily be going local, that it goes to a big pool.
Right.
They do it all over the country in high school.
they've been doing it here for umpteen years.
And with the Lions Club, all of those funds do come here. It's Knights of Columbus, they come to the area they serve. The Trenton
I
Knights of Columbus-
understand that. I was just thinking that, you know, you got one organization on Monday and another organization on Tuesday.
They're different weekends.
Okay.
So now I need to have,
So are we gonna approve or recommend?
do we suggest that let's go forward for approval?
I suggested,
Okay, we'll recommend it for approval.
No.
thank you. Yes,
Yeah,
take those trees down.
what we're doing it for. So basically, this is the outline of the form we're officially doing, once this is addressed by the city, if we decide to accept the proposal to do it, basically what we were just given was the form that has to be filled out to the state. Yep. So, do we want this proposal agreement to move forward to the city council?
Yes.
Yes,
No,
Okay,
not until more information is available.
and seeing that the majority of the,
What you see is what you got,
Pardon me?
what you see is what you get.
Mr. Stevens, if we had to send notification out, IDOT would have required it. Hence the IDOT paperwork.
we got a proposal or bid for tree removal. And I'm gonna make a venture guess that the reason why we're doing it as a bulk thing for 49,000 is because we could probably use MFT funds for it, is that correct?
You are correct, good sir. All right. I wrote on there, so if anyone can't read it, let me know. I kind of just wrote it bigger. The left column where it says engineer's estimate. You kind of keep that to yourselves. That is what the projection bid was. Now, if he wanted to FOIA, he can. That left number is what they projected. We did a low opening for bids. The paperwork was handed out from TWM, is what our engineering office is over in Swansea, Illinois. And all of one person showed up and bid on the project. And that right number is the number that they bid. So tonight we're asking to move forward with motor fuel money, which comes from annexing roads. And that's where that money comes from, is to help us cut more trees or sidewalks. It boosts that money from the state. We're asking to move this forward to take all these trees out. Before anyone jumps my case, before I get home on Facebook, these trees are between a sidewalk within 4 foot of section. They're 50, 60, 80-foot trees that have oak rot or wilt. They're falling down, and then the other reason why we're doing this, they're heaving up sidewalk infrastructure, which is costing the city a pretty good amount of money. And if we take these trees out this year, if we take the trees out this year, 2026 is the Herman Street grant that we also use motor fuel money on to secure the loan or the grant. And that's allowing us to do a new street all the way from East 50, which is East McAllister to us, all the way down to the new section of road that was down in McAllister. So you'll have a brand new road, sidewalks fixed where it needs to be or repaired, and curb and gutter from the north side to the south side of South Herman, the entire road. So we want to get these trees out of that right of way before we do it, because to me, it is silly to go back and have trees fall on our beautiful roads that we just paved, to heave up new sidewalks we just put in. And the point in case also is once you start construction on a sidewalk, you tear roots out to catch grade, the tree's probably dying anyway. We went through with the engineering company and looked at them. The majority of them have wood that is falling out of them, and Herman Street, and I'm sure Miss Washington can attest to this, Herman Street seems to have a lot of branches that end up being on the roads, especially they like Saturdays and Sundays. For whatever reason, we just actually cleaned one up. Wasn't on Herman, but it was a side street, so we're working on mitigating trees in that area due to the fact of the lack that the city has not been appropriating money for kids to walk over there. So our goal is trees, then sidewalks, and following up with the SRTS grants.
So it is just that particular area. It's not like they're spread out all over town.
No, it is from, I think it's from the 200 or 300 block on. So the 100, 200 block, none of the trees are in the city right away. The motor fuel money has to be used for city projects, for city property. We couldn't use motor fuel money to put lights up on buildings uptown or whatever. It has to be city property, city funded. So our right of way, we're securing the right of way for our sidewalks and infrastructure. That's what your motor fuel is for. Improving infrastructure or creating new infrastructure.
There's no stop grinding involved in this, right?
The trees come out, it's in everything. It is cutting the tree down, removing the tree, stump grinding and restoring that area back to grass. So when it's done, it'll be back to just grass. You won't have to heave up sidewalks. In the meantime, from 25 to that 26 transition, because October is when this will start. Give or take a little after October, the first week of October. There will be rock in some areas for the sidewalks until the project comes back around and they will pour the sidewalk back. Because that is already bid into the grant money for the 2026 Herman project. Make sense?
Mhm.
And then hopefully we continue to use motor fuel secured funds to connect the Chute Street and Fritz Street down to McAllister. And our goal is to keep branching out. I mean, we do have other projects in town, so bear with us. We're not just spending all the money over there, but a good amount is going to be for restoring main thoroughfares to important facilities, i.e. our water treatment plant. They've been driving on the same bumpy road for 40 years. So just another step forward.
Any discussion? Do we recommend approval for this at the next meeting?
I would recommend approval of for the tree bid for that disclosed
We would
number.
be recommending the approval for the only bid, just to make sure that we say this right for the motor fuels. You would recommend the only bid for the TWM City of Lebanon Tree Project.
Right, it'll be written up on the agenda in the right language. Want to recommend spending that money or?
Second.
Second.
There's no
Second.
vote, no vote here, unfortunately, you don't vote.
Next week you can vote.
This is a consensus. So there shouldn't be a lot of discussion in next week.
Yeah, no, I'm all about saving the trees, so I say no. But,
Yeah, no.
How you gonna say something that's dead?
well, if it's completely dead, then it should be taken down.
Well, the trees are close enough.
But they're not completely dead.
None of them are completely dead, but I think there was one or two out of 22 trees that didn't have, they're nodes on a tree branch. I've heard different names for them, oak rot, well, different things. Now, if they were in really good shape, it probably wouldn't be the end of the world, but yes, they are dying, but the caveat to that is it's heaving up my road, it's heaving up my sidewalks. If we can leave them, but your problem is going to be in the next 10 years, the 50,000 you put in sidewalks, you might as well just throw it in the grinder. Because that sidewalk's gonna be heaved up again. I know some people say trees don't, have any issues or obstructions with infrastructure, but if that was the case, then why are we having issues with sewer line stuff too, right? So trees actually do push up sidewalk, they do push the curb. A prime example, if anyone's curious, drive down over to Jessica's house and see the sidewalk that is about 5.5 inches taller than the rest of the road, and the water drains the wrong direction, due to trees. Remember that these sidewalks are old and they're only 2 inches thick, which is not code, so we're working on that as well. I am a tree person,
Okay,
I get it, so I think we can get it done.
okay, let's move it on.
Yep, you're good. Any questions otherwise?
Okay,
Thank you, Cody.
No worries.
thank you. We'll put this on the agenda.
Appreciate it.
There'll be one more chance to have a discussion if we need to. Good. Agenda. I don't see anything else on the agenda.
Good.
I have new business of my own, if I can have 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what the heck?
I want to answer some questions that you guys had time to answer that I wasn't sure if I was gonna be able to. Dr. Jazz was brought up. Yes, that is a city right of way. Yes, the city is working on that right now. We took the trees out because they were absolutely dead. We are working with Dr. Jazz to replace them, to put a tree in there. We are also looking at acquiring tree boxes like the Greats in St. Louis. So there's a couple reasons. When you walk on tree roots, it kills trees. So it'd be kind of silly to put trees back and then just let them die. We want a chance on them. RJ has a great point. For the people at home, I'm not just a tree killer, I promise. We are working on that. We want to replant trees and get tree boxes. The issue is that we still have other problems from 7 inches of rain in 24 hours that kind of take precedence. I know it's ugly right now, but Dr. Jazz is working with us, the guy that owns it, to mitigate that and get trees back uptown, as well working with the garden club to bring color back up to town. That's all discussion. That's all in the works. You want to blame someone, it's me. I'm moving slow on it. I haven't jumped on it exactly right away because of funding. Let's see, the house is down the road. For the collapsing house, we put barricades up, they are moved all the time. Now that McHenry's back, I suspect our barricades are gonna be stolen. That's just the normal city of Lebanon.
Welcome to Lebanon.
We recovered 9 barricades from McHenry University. They gave them back to us, thankfully, from dorm rooms. They hide them in the drop ceilings, great for them. Those 3 houses are owned by one man, and that man is fighting the insurance company. I'm not gonna name insurance names. I don't need to name insurance names. It's part of another issue. The problem he's running into is, which makes no sense to me, is the house is falling into the other houses, but the insurance covers the other houses as well. So I don't know what's taking so long. Maybe it's an insurance thing. There was discussion, he did call back and talk to Blake, and they wanted the city to deem it as uninhabitable and not to go back in. I don't know the legalities. If the city deems it uninhabitable, is the insurance company gonna say, well, we think it's fixable, now you have a whole other debacle? I don't know. You wanna get in that? Not my cup of tea. But we are working on that. Maybe if George can reach out to Luke and talk to him and say, hey, what's the legalities on it? Can we push and say, either, get it going, or what are you doing? Because it is a public risk. I mean, it has a potential to fall on our property. So maybe we want to look into that. So you guys have a nice little list for me today.
I don't think it takes much to declare a place uninhabitable, just to justify it.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a code enforcer section that says you take a class on what's considered a dilapidated home or not.
I don't know, he's probably got the information on it.
I'll talk to him tomorrow, I guess, and let him get with you or whoever. The school guy's gone, but this, yes, ma'am.
Could the same thing be done to the one on Third and Chair?
Potentially. All that does is mean that you can't go in it. You can't force it.
Go into them?
You know, they can't force it being demolished. That's a whole different issue. It took what, 3 or 4 years, once we figured out what to do, to get the old towing company building torn down. That took longer than that, about 15 years total.
One of my sources just told me that they're looking for a structural engineer to consider it unsafe. And Blake is not a structural engineer, so that takes the city out of it.
Two,
Unless you guys have a structural engineer on retainer that I'm not aware of.
two. Which one?
For the house down here. As far as the tree goes, when it stood back up, we footed the bill for the rest of it. Insurance companies are really odd. Jessica might be able to go a little bit more on this. When it falls on your house and it's my tree, it is your responsibility for my part of the tree that is on your part of the property. When it stood back up, we were billed for the rest of the 9 foot and the stump removal. A tree fell down the road simultaneously out of another person's yard and fell into the tree. We had the insurance company told us, cut it, stop at city property and go from there. So we had a $560 bill to cut little limbs off because it was over city property to restore the right of way. I don't know why insurance does that. Do you have any insight for that?
It's usually trees are classified as a, like act of God type of situation. You don't really know which way they're gonna fall on that kind of thing, so it's generally standard said that when a tree falls, it has to make contact with your property and you're responsible for what hits your property. And so then the rest of the tree obviously couldn't stay in the condition it was in, so then we had to take it down. But if a tree falls in your yard, insurance is the same way. If it falls in your yard, it doesn't make any contact with any kind of structure you have insured, they don't cover to remove that tree. It's gotta hit a structure.
And if I'm not mistaken, if you have a neighbor that has a derelict tree or vice versa, a city tree, if you do not report it, it's still an act of God. You have limbs that hit your car every week and you never report it, and then it finally demolishes the car beyond repair, it's still an act of God. You have to be on notice. Oh, that's all I really have. The guy from the school left. So I think we can meet up with him sometime and talk.
Yeah.
Beyond that, the grass is growing. We're still trying to keep up with it. Potholes are forming faster than we can fill them, and yeah, I think that's all I have.
All right. Anybody else have anything? Okay, there being no business, we're adjourned.
What's that?
I-
These
Yeah.